Welcome to the Earn It podcast, our weekly episodic running podcast with the Omni Elites team. We have Chris Cruz today, Confirmant RM, Last Kryptonian, and NR legend Baby Blue Eyes in the house. How's
Don't
it
forget
going,
yourself,
guys?
buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're here
and
too.
yeah, the Greek. I'm here too.
We got the Greek.
Yeah, I think Greek's here.
Yeah, and today we're sponsored by AuthorFi.ai. If you don't know what it is yet, you will know what it is in the future.
Stay tuned.
Check it out. Yeah, no doubt.
And
Kryptonian,
also-
is that song available that's on the intro?
It is. It's looks like I downloaded it for sure. I'll send it to you. I'll send
It's
it
a
to
good
you in its
song, man.
entirety. That's only like 15 seconds of it.
Yeah, it's a little snippet of it, but it's good, man. I love
Oh,
the
yeah,
beat.
it's
It's not on.
Yeah.
It's not on
Dubstep.
Spotify.
That's what I was gonna ask.
It
Yeah.
probably is. I mean, it's licensed, right? So I got it through the software that I used to make.
She's on my Spotify. I follow her on Spotify. I'll check.
Who you talking? Oh no, you're talking about Lele, right?
Yeah.
Or was that what you're talking about?
So that isn't one of your daughter's songs?
Oh no. You're talking
Oh,
about.
I
thought
assumed
that
it
was.
was. Oh, yeah, I assumed it was.
That's
Okay.
a dubstep, track
Okay.
I found on. But she does have some tracks
Had
coming
me
out.
fooled there,
sound-
brother. Had me fooled.
Oh yeah. She's got.
So
a
I know you
dubstep
said
song.
you were in the studio with your daughter, and you guys have been cracking out.
I
the
can't
music, so,
wait to
you
start.
know.
I can't wait to start letting
Right
you guys
on.
listen to some stuff. So in fact, a producer today he texted us and she wrote 2 songs about 2-3 months ago. She sent them over to him. He's been working on them. We're hoping to get something today. So if I get some tracks, I'll let you guys listen to them, right? And then
Hell yeah,
we
that's
got to go
exciting, brother.
from him to the studio, and then we got 2 more right after that. So she's getting busy, man. I'm super excited for her. Yeah,
That's good, man. It's
it's a
good.
lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Yeah, you had us all fooled there, brother.
My bad. I didn't mean to.
Was it me, or did you guys think it was hers as well?
I thought it was her, and I
I thought it was her
put
singing like
Oh,
the
no.
intro of one
Me
of her
too.
songs, and he just
So
cut
did
it
I.
and used it for one of our songs.
Had
One
me
of the
fooled,
producers that we use, he has it. She has a song that he did that. He cut it up. When dubstep was all the kind of the
Yeah,
rage,
yeah.
and they were stacking the vocals.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
talking about. They were. So I remember he's got a song that he just cut her voice up. Sounds crazy. He's reversing the lyrics, and it just sounds crazy. But yeah, she's got some tracks like that too. I haven't dropped them. Just kind of have to hold on to them, and they're supposed to drip out. You want to throw it all out there, right? But
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool, though.
she's got some cool stuff coming out.
It's crazy.
Looking
The
forward to it.
simplest beats sometimes are the most effective.
Oh yeah, less is more, man, for sure.
Well, there's people like simplicity, sometimes not complexity. So
There it is.
That's why they love the Greek. Simplicity over complexity.
There you go. There you go.
What did
I
we
think they
get?
love the Greek for a lot of other reasons too, not just that.
I trim my beard, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what a difference!" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to get rid of that neck crap going on."
What a difference.
Took me about 40 minutes. I'm like, "This is too much. I need to stop."
The battery lasted 40 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it kept snagging
What kind of
because it
battery
was
is
so
that?
like.
He's got one that plugs in the wall. It's not. There's no
Yeah.
battery. It plugs in the wall.
What I hate about the electric shavers
220,
is
right?
that,
right.
I mean, they don't. When the
Which is
battery
on
when it's plugged in,
220,
they don't
right.
run, right? I have.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
So when the battery dies, you have to wait for it to charge rather than you can plug it in and use it while it's
Yeah.
plugged in. I'm like, it's the
so
dumbest
passive.
feature ever.
Yep.
Sociopath invented the trimmer. I'm telling you. And when you got a beard like mine, it takes a while, because it's all ratty and all.
Well, you got to go from the big toe all the way up. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's a lot of hair.
Greek growing hair is our job. It's like, what do you?
It's your job.
It's your
Man.
job.
It's in our DNA. Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to say that that's familiar, but I mean, even phones back in like 2008, 2010. I mean, you're thinking about that. They had this 1.2 amp charging. You couldn't use your phone if it was below 10% for the first like 15, 20 minutes until at least it got to a good charge, because it would basically just nullify it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now I'm greedy. I have
you're
the
right.
fast charger.
It was like that at least until you got an iPhone, and then you were good. But I remember those days when I had to before the iPhone, and you had to
I have to say that iPhone and Apple and everything is completely superior to like anything else.
Yeah.
Everything I run across and everything like that, I'm like, I have issues with iPhone and Apple stuff here and there, but in the big picture, they've all worked really well for me. Every single one, from the very first time I ever got one to now, I've never. I mean, my battery would die quite a bit during a couple years ago on one of the models I had on my phone, but my iPads, my laptops, and what do they call those? Apple. What's the Apple laptop?
MacBook.
MacBooks. Yeah,
MacBook.
MacBooks.
Yeah.
I
And
will
then
say
I
this,
have
it just
I have a-
works when
I have
they
a Mac
release the product.
that's like a screen.
The iMac,
That. What's
yeah.
that one called?
The iMac.
iMac.
Yeah.
iMac.
iMac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one I've had that for years, and it's like a go-to. If I mean, I use it for other things, but it's always worked well.
My argument with iPhones versus Droids, to each their own as far as the operating system. It's
These
all
aren't
about
the droids you're looking for.
yeah, these aren't the Droids before. But the truth is, it's the same hardware. It's the same technology, hardware. Like software's different, right? So, but it's the same. It's the same processor, the same internal parts that there are in a Droid, and then there are in an iPhone. In fact, Samsung makes, or is it Samsung that makes the same screen for the iPhones they do for Droids, right? It's the same. It comes from the same factories. But what Apple does different is their software is and it's the same batteries as well. Okay, you're not getting a different, you're not getting an Apple battery. Apple's operating system just knows how to manage the battery life, so it gives the illusion you're getting more battery life, but it's the same damn battery that's in a Droid. Droid is, I mean, what I like Droid. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think they come out. What I like about Droids, they'll come out with some pretty cool features right off the jump. They load those jokers up, all the features at one time, and you get to see what works and what sticks and what doesn't. Then Apple takes the best of that and then releases it
100% true.
5 years later.
All my friends who have a Droid, they're like, "Look what my phone can do," and I'm like, "How often do you use that feature?" And they're like, "But I can do it if I want to do it." I'm like, "You never use that feature."
That helps you
Like,
how?
It's like you've got 3 friends, you've done it 3 times, and that's it. So
like my
you're
Apple.
showing 3 people, right? So,
Well, they were bragging about their camera at one point because they could take a picture of the moon and get. I know we're talking about the moon, but they could get like the craters on the moon. And like when you take a picture of the moon with the iPhone, it's
NASA's
just like
done the same thing.
ball.
You know?
And I'm like, okay, congratulations. Once you take one good picture of the moon, you got your one picture of the moon. You don't need to take another picture of the moon. So like what?
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm like, but then you see the benefits of the iPhone and other.
Did you even know do you know the background on that though? Do any of you know the background on that?
What they put a hologram over the moon when you take it?
No. So it's AI.
Greg, if you say hologram one more
the
time.
software. So no, they have an AI in the software that's built into it. In the camera. So when you're taking a picture of the moon, it will recognize it and it will actually mold in existing photos of the moon to make it look as good as it does.
So it's fake.
So
it's
just
fake
like
news.
So just like what NASA did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not an actual photo; it's a composite.
If you really want to see a cool video, someone did it and made it as blurry as possible. But if the phone can recognize that it's an orb floating in the sky, it'll make it look exactly like a stereotypical picture of the moon.
So
TCL was the one who bragged about the moon shot when we were to buy because
the zoom isn't bad.
Honestly. Like, look what my phone can do because he's a Droid guy.
He's a Droid guy, yeah.
So that actually
owns the flip or something.
He's got the fold. Yeah, he was bragging about that in one of our chats. I'm like, what the hell's the fold?
It's nice, but I mean,
it's a phone.
It's a phone, yeah. It's an iPad, but don't get me wrong, it's nice. I mean,
we need to ask better Dave about
I would like for Apple to improve on that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right. I was gonna say, Greek, that actually kind of segues into what I was gonna talk about as for everybody listening, tune in on the 29th, I believe, correct, guys?
Yeah.
It's gonna be November 29th at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have round 2 with Flat Earth Dave.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't been on, and I didn't want to pass through that whole conversation about bringing up the moon without bringing up. So we haven't got together live since we had Flat Earth Dave on. And how does everybody feel about that? I mean, it was there was a ton of information.
It was interesting.
I still believe the Earth is round. I don't believe the Earth is flat. Now, one thing I will say is, how do you prove that to a flat earther? Because, they'll say, well, you can't prove it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't prove anything unless I can go up there on a rocket myself and take a picture of it.
Take
and
you
then
with
they'll still
me.
say, that picture's fake. You edited it or something.
I have a point to make.
What's that?
So during that time when we had Flat Earth Dave on, he showed, I watched a few videos and he showed us that there was a video that he was showing where there was like the spent fuel rockets,
like a balloon. You say it was a balloon or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
the payloads or the tanks with hold all the fuel.
Those, it was floating instead of descending, right?
It's what it looked like, right?
Right. It looked like that to me. It wasn't moving, and like it looked like an object came over, whatever. Okay, all right. But then we're talking about how there's no curvature of the Earth and all that kind of stuff. Different things. But I just saw a video, and this was brought up that the guy that was in that balloon that like free fall from low Earth orbit,
Felix Baumgartner.
The Red Bull jump guy. Yeah, the Red.
Yeah. So when he did that, they have those cameras on him, and you can hear his voice, all that kind of. I mean, he's like his breathing, all that kind of stuff. But when he's falling, you can obviously see the curvature of the Earth. I mean, and that was this guy doing it. I mean,
it's fake.
But that's what I'm saying is it.
You're talking about when he jumped from his.
When Felix jumps, you can see the curvature. But if you ask a flat earther, they'd say NASA was part of that broadcast and put the curvature.
No, actually, no. So let me tell you, I've actually looked into that one because I've been looking into this flat Earth thing probably since 2012 ish, right?
Yeah.
So in that video, it is edited, but they edited it, but not to, in my opinion, the actual full footage. It wasn't to manipulate anybody or try to fake curvature or anything like that. He specifically used and he admittedly uses a GoPro camera. Okay. And we all know GoPro cameras have that the fisheye.
They have like a
effect.
telescope, like a fisheye look to it.
Yeah, and it's you turn it off, you turn it on. So anyhow, on the way up, so here this is where the questions come into play. On the ascension, okay, before he gets up to the point where he's going to jump, there's a couple of times in that footage where he's not even 1,000 feet up in the air, 2,000, I think, or whatever. It's been a long time I've looked at it, and there's curvature. So he's not even in low Earth orbit, and there's
it's like you shouldn't even be able to see it, but it's
right.
there.
I could see that there being a fisheye coming from him.
Yeah. Right. Hold on, let me finish the point. So you see it before he even gets into low Earth orbit. That's one thing. And another thing is the curvature, the way it's presented to us. You know, there is a physical horizon, not an apparent horizon. An apparent horizon is that's apparently, is supposed to be what we think is supposed to be the horizon. But because the Earth is a globe, the horizon comes up to eye level, and the apparent is, we're thinking it's a physical curve. It's supposed to be a physical curve, is my point. So there's supposed to be a physical curve where the Earth drops off in front of that curve, right? So that's the curve of the Earth. The problem is he wasn't high enough, 1,000 feet, and you could see it. Then he gets up into the actual where he's about to drop off and jump out. You can see in one of the cameras where the horizon is at eye level. And there's another, and so if you take away the fisheye effect or whatever, fishbowl effect, whatever it's called, fisheye lens, it's going to be flat. That doesn't mean the ball that we're not on a ball Earth or Earth is flat. That just means you can't use his footage as there's curvature because you're seeing it too soon. And the other thing, the last thing I'll say about it is this, about his jump. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you guys know who that is, right? He's a cosmologist.
Yes.
He's a cosmologist. He's a spokesman for NASA. He's been called the smartest man on. I mean, the guy's, everybody knows who he is. He's basically replaced Bill Nye, the science guy, right? So, he's very smart. He's a very smart guy, very intellectual guy. But he's a cosmologist. So he's a doctor of space who's never been to space. Think about that, okay? That's one point. Number two, he even said, once people pointed out, not just flat earthers were saying, hey, there's no curvature because he's not high enough. I think he was like 70,000 feet in the air or something like that, or I forget where he was, or maybe 100,000 feet, 120,000 feet in the air when he supposedly saw curvature. Because everybody sees it in the footage. Look, there's curve, but because of the lens. when people started pointing out, well, you can see it before he even gets high enough, so that doesn't make sense. He had to come out and kind of like address that. He says, look, the truth is this. He even says this. He goes, he didn't see curvature. He wasn't high enough. And he gave, if you guys remember, I showed that video. He showed a beach ball. He says he's like a 1 millimeter up. He goes, it's flat. He's not saying the earth is flat. He's saying it would be flat at that height, right?
At that height, yeah.
At that height, yeah. So just to be clear, he's not saying it's flat. He's just saying that, at that height. So, and the point to that is, you can't use the Red Bull jump guy to say I see curvature, because according to the guy that's the doctor of space is saying it can't be done. So who are you going to believe?
Have you ever thought about this? Because I was driving on the highway, and you look forward and you see the horizon, like the blue sky goes down in front of you. Like if the earth was flat.
What do you mean it goes down in front of you? You mean like, I see what
yeah, like you should be, would be a black abyss if the sky, like imagine the earth's flat. This is the earth. The sky would be like that. There would be an abyss at the side where there would be a black ring where the sky wouldn't envelop it. Otherwise that could
not according to perspective. So that just tells me you don't understand how perspective works, right? So not and respectfully. So everything comes to a vanishing point. And this is, I
it's a vanish, but if you're on the edges.
Well, when I'm talking about if I'm standing on a highway and it's flat and it's 10 miles of road straight. If you guys have seen pictures, and even I'm sure you've even experienced it being in a city, driving down a highway, and you have light poles, you have street lights, they're all the same height. But if you just stop where you're at and you look as far as you can, they look like they're getting smaller. Are they getting smaller? And they're not only getting smaller, they're also meeting where the sky meets the horizon, the apparent horizon. So the truth is, if you were to take a camera and zoom that light back in, it's going to come right back to its actual size. It looks like it's going away from you and getting smaller, but it's not. So, but that's how perspective works. So I hear what you're saying about it would be an abyss. And
if you're on the edges, that's what I'm talking about. People would see.
Oh, if you're on the edge,
they say that he was at 127,852 feet.
127,000.
Say that again. Who was the Red Bull guy?
Felix. Talking about the Red Bull, yeah.
Yeah, and okay, so
right on the edge of space, like that's where they claim space.
Yeah. I mean, well, they keep moving the goalpost, and now when we talk about as far as it being flat, I don't know, but I can talk all day about space because I've looked into what NASA claims. I just think they're straight up liars. So, how high is the space station? It's
350,000, I think, or 250 something, maybe 350.
250,000 feet.
I got to look it up.
It's 250,000 feet, I think. So so if you think about this, if Felix,
not much further than he was.
What's that?
It's not much further than what he was.
Right. And notice how he was as high as a space station.
254,000
feet. Yeah. And whenever you look for
254 miles.
Yep.
Miles. I'm sorry.
254 miles.
Okay.
Yep.
54 miles. And whenever they look out, their ISIS space station windows, whatever ISIS, I like to call them ISIS, but ISS, but their ISS, they're seeing curvature, right?
Look at this video.
What's that?
That's what I'm telling you. Look.
Okay, so it's a 1,000,000.
That's a fisheye lens.
Feet.
Here's the
space station.
You can just tell by the poles. You can tell the poles are curved. The one on the right there is curved.
And also check this out. If he's actually high enough to see the curve, he's over New Mexico. New Mexico's taking over 70% of that landmass. That means if you follow that curve line, if you take a protractor and you drag that circle all the way around, he's over New Mexico. New Mexico doesn't take up much of that earth. You got let's use our common sense here. He's not high enough to see New Mexico.
There's one issue I hit with this too.
The curve.
He went up. It took an hour for him to get up, and he landed, I think, 20 miles difference of where he went up at. If the Earth's turning at the speed they say,
he would have been 100 something miles from his. So basically, he should have been above the atmosphere.
You see what I'm saying, though? Look at this video. It looks like there's obviously a globe there.
No,
it's not.
Isn't he supposed to starting to get at what speed do they start to burn?
Oh
How,
no,
like,
no,
or
they
is it going
don't.
through
They
or
don't.
is it going through the ozone? Is what they say.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing. Go back. This is
He
crazy.
wasn't at the upper areas of the atmosphere where it would actually do that.
Where do you want me to go back to?
Go back and you can see the moon. I think he sees the moon. I think that was the moon.
No, that was his balloon. He's
There's
looking
a balloon.
up. And
Okay, there's another video where someone shoots a rocket out into space, like about as high as this guy goes, and it goes up, and it's crazy because we want to talk about like this is why I don't think we can get out of low Earth orbit. The rocket goes. It's called the. I'll try to find the video. It's called the something rocket, but anyways, you hear it go. It has cameras on it, and you can actually hear the audio. You hear it, just. It's just a an amateur rocket, not like a NASA rocket, but like something someone made at their house or in a small lab. It hits something like you ever dropped a stone in or a pebble in the water and makes a bloop sound. Well, it makes that type of sound when it hit and it stops. So it's going as high as it can. It stops. It makes some sort of water type sound like it hit something. And then the camera and then the rocket starts to, of course, as it's ascending, it's spinning because obviously it's got that, it's got the the spinning all the way up. Anyhow, when it hits whatever it hits up there, the firmament, or I don't know what it hit, probably hit the space station. I don't know. It starts to turn, and what you end up seeing is the moon in the shot. Here's the problem with that shot. From where they say they actually launched the rocket from, the moon should have been on the other side of the globe. Like the other side. It should have been visible at the height that they were, but they were able to see the sun and the moon in that one shot. So there's something wrong with that. But you can actually test the data based on where they say they launched and where it landed. So either one of two things. The moon, the moon wasn't where they said it was supposed to be, or it's not, or they're lying about it, right? So they're lying about something.
Either they fabricated it, or
yeah. So, but that was strange, and you can actually verify the fact that the moon should have not been in there based on what? Based on what? Well, if how right now there's apps you can say where the moon is, but as far as the global position, it's over here by Australia, it's over here on New Mexico. I mean, we can pull up an app and see all those things. Well, so they just said, well, if they launched at 2 p.m. at this time and they're launching through, I'm going to say New Mexico, the moon should be over here. If they're only going up 100,000 feet, can't even see. And another thing, there was no curvature as well. I mean, it's flat, right? I mean, I don't think they have the fisheye lens on the camera, so it looks flat. But the main thing about that video is you see the moon and the sun in the same shot, and they weren't supposed to be in the same vicinity. The moon's supposed to be way on the other side of the globe. And you can actually see it in the shot, which is weird. It's crazy. So do
you believe that the Earth is flat, Kryptonian? Like, is that what are your thoughts? Because it sounds like you're still open. No, it sounds like you're still open to the possibility.
Absolutely. So belief is the enemy of knowing. You guys hear me say that, all right? And this goes.
I've never heard you say that. I'm just going to say it.
Well, this is why you hear me say it quite often, right? When you pay attention to me, and this would be one. I think one example of why I believe, or I say these things, or say this, and I follow that, because it's not just over space and the earth. It's about everything in my life, right? Everything that I have, everything that touches my path and my journey, right? So the question to me is, do I believe the earth is flat? My response is, I don't know. But because belief, I don't believe it's flat. I just know it's not a ball. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. And it all comes from, in my opinion, this all comes from the distrust.
That's all it is.
The system of government.
The older I've gotten, you're right. You're right, Anand. The older I've gotten, there are just too many things in my lifetime that have made me go, well, it's for my own good. They're lying to me. But
what if I told you that the ancient Greeks invented the globe? So there you go.
Then I would.
Greek, what if I told you?
You're talking about Copernicus?
That
we invented everything, man.
I heard that the Scots did.
Blame the Greeks. That's why the globe and
so let me finish my answer, Chris, real quick. So if you were to ask, okay, so you're saying the earth is flat? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't know. But what I do know is I know that we're not on a ball as they present it to us, based on the information and data that they're basically spoon feeding me since I was a kid, right? That they've been making me just swallow and swallow. I've decided to say, you know what? I no longer believe that wholeheartedly. I'm going to do my own research.
And I'm open to interpretation. Basically.
Absolutely. I'm going to go and I trust you, but I'm going to go verify, right? But I used to, that's actually the right approach to things, trust but verify. I no longer trust them, so I'm absolutely going to go verify. So with that being said, so how do you know we're not on the globe? Well, I can't get on a rocket and I can't get into space to prove we're not. I'm obviously right. I would need $1 billion and have to get approval by NASA.
But even if you have that, you still can, apparently.
Yeah, you can't, right? And would I want to do that? Probably not. I think they shoot me out of the sky. But another thing is, so what I decided to do is try my own experiments and go with my own observations, things that I could do here on Earth. So I started to test the curvature math, like things that should have been behind a curve, I can see. Like we were talking about, and we talked a little bit about perspective and all that stuff. I bought a camera, a Nikon 900, and I now have a Nikon 1000, right? So it's a camera that lets you see very far. You can see like 10 miles almost with that camera. Okay. So I would get on the beach in Galveston, right? I'm here near Galveston, and I would actually, based on where Google says I am on Galveston, right? As far as, and I would look at some of the ships and the rigs that were out there that were supposed to be 10 miles out, 12 miles out. So based on the Earth's curvature calculations, based on where I was standing, as far as I can, on a calm, ocean day, whatever, sea day, whatever, and I can see a boat, and I would let it go away. And I mean, not just the big tankers, but just people out there fishing. I would wait until they go over the curve, and I'm like, okay, they're gone, right? And then I would take my camera and I would zoom in and they would come right back. It's not like the camera went out and went over the water and said, it's not like it's like, look, there they are. You know what I mean? It didn't do that. The camera didn't do that. The camera just brought them right back into view. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not as far as I think they are. So then I started looking at places in Galveston.
Human eye versus a camera lens.
Well, it's about being able to. Well, the distance, the furthest distance the human eye can see is about 3 miles, 20/20 vision on a clear day. Through the atmosphere, right? And the question is, well, if the Earth was flat, I'd be able to see Italy from the United States. No, stupid. You got atmosphere between you and them. So you got dust, dirt, moisture, wind, and all that stuff. So you can't see through that. And so point being is, with that camera, I was able to see things further than I should have been able to. So it was boats over the sea, over the supposed curve, and then there was a couple of buoys, and then I was at one of my customers' bay houses, right? And I was about 15 to 20 miles from where his dock was, right on the dock, and I was looking at an island off near Galveston, or the edge of the island, and I was seeing a building, a tower, all right. And I think I have the footage on it. See if I can find it. This is 10 years ago almost. I was able to zoom that in. It should have had, and maybe the building was probably 5 stories, 6 stories, based on the Earth's calculations. It should have been about 50 feet below the curve. Okay. So 9-10 miles out. So I shouldn't be, maybe if I would be able to see it just with my own eyes, even with the camera, I should at least be able to see the top 2 stories, because it should have been like over the curve, right? You know what I'm saying? It should have been like,
well, on a globe, at any point, you're at the highest point wherever you're standing. If you're on a ball, wherever you're standing is going to be
the highest point. That's right. That's right. So there should be some sort of physical curve, physical water or earth behind what I'm looking at, because it's behind as the earth is curving, there's going to be physical dirt behind it, right? The problem I have with that is I was able to see the whole thing with no curve, and I'm going, what the hell's going on? And I'm thinking I'm doing the math wrong, and then this is 2012, 2013-ish, probably through 2016 is when I kind of stopped doing it. I was like, okay, I'm convinced. One of 2 things. Either it's flat, which I wasn't really convinced, or it's much bigger. It's a much bigger ball than what they're telling us. Okay. And I stuck with that. It's just bigger, right? Why would they tell me, it's 8 inches per square mile, 8 inches square mile I think it's per mile square. And that's the calculations for the curvature. So if you're basically 6 foot tall, which I'm not, and you look 10 miles out, there's a calculation that any of us can go do. It's on, you can Google it, that NASA, throws that calculation out there. It tells you how much curvature should be behind whatever you're looking at. When I wasn't seeing the curvature, and okay, not the curvature. I was able to see things I shouldn't have been able to see and zoom it back in. Okay, something's not right. And then, you guys, I'll tell you the story. I've told you the stories about, one of my customers had a plane, right? Or has a couple planes, a jet, his single prop, double prop, and he bought a jet. And I've had the absolute pleasure of him. I'm not a pilot, but he let me fly it. He let me land it. I got to go. He fly me all over the U.S., well, Texas and all the way up to Alabama. And down south. But so I got to be in that cockpit for hours, and I'm not in the passengers, and sitting in the back. I'm actually looking out the front of the cockpit. I'm flying with the guy, and the pilot was a United. He was a United pilot. He flew for United, and he told me this. Right. This is before I didn't even ask him anything about flat Earth. I didn't really care. I was just like, man, I'm in a plane. I'm freaking flying this thing. Right. I just remember him saying, "Hey, just so you know, man, it's flat." And I was like, what? Because the reason that came up was,
wow,
he had a little mini iPad on his lap, and that's where he was putting it. He pulls up this map, right? This is where he goes, we're going from A to B. He's plugged in the coordinates. He's like, and he can see the weather system. And he goes, we're gonna be flying around these clouds, so he's kind of showing me the coordinates and how long it's gonna take, the path we're gonna take. And I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't pay no mind to it, and I'm like, so you're not watching the clouds, or you're not, he goes, look, it's all, I'm using the instruments that I have. This is what keeps me alive, is this right here, and I'm like, okay. And then I went into, well, what about, I was like, you're not going to fly off into space. He goes, man, it's flat. How am I going to do that? That's how that came up. And I'm like, what? He goes, he kind of joked about it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now, this is the first flight I had with him, and I flew probably over maybe up to 100 hours with the guy, in my life. I haven't done it since COVID, but, and as I started questioning more, he would just say, look, man, it's flat. I don't say nothing because I'll lose my pension. He works for United. And if he hears
don't start none, won't be none.
Yeah. Right? That's right. I know a pilot, and he says he sees stuff that doesn't seem like it's from this earth.
He says the exact same thing. Wow. He says, man, he goes, I get to fly the stuff that we all know about. But he said the same thing. I see things that he says, he doesn't say they're not man-made, or didn't say they're man. He goes, there's just government crafts, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, he didn't say that it's flat. It's a flat earth. He just said it's flat. And I didn't like drill. I just kind of like, why is he saying that? I didn't dig. I was just like, whatever, dude. But anyways, so the thing is, he told me that, but point is this, I'm in this plane. So when he told me that, now I'm looking out the cockpit. It's a different view from looking out the side of a little bitty, 2x2 window. Okay, it really is. And you're seeing, you're looking like the front of a car, right? Windshield of a car to some degree. And I'm telling you, man, it looks, the horizon was at my level, man. We were at 5,000 feet, 15, almost 20,000 feet, and the horizon was at my level. I never saw the earth drop off. It didn't look like it should have been like a curve, right? Like I didn't see what the Red Bull guy saw at 5,000 feet when he was ascending in his balloon, which I should have, because I was at, 12,000, 15,000 feet and I didn't see that, right? Or I think we got as high as 12,000. My point is that doesn't prove anything. It could be anecdotal, but what I saw personally, it made me question everything. I'm still on my journey. I haven't decided 1,000%. Obviously, I'm not going to say it's flat. But what I am going to say is, guys, is that I know it's not the size, it's not the ball they say it is. I think it's either bigger or it's something else, But
there's a question I had for Flat Earth Dave, because we can see other planets with our telescopes. Mm-hmm. We have powerful enough telescopes. You're telling me we can't put a telescope on a mountainside and look across the globe, if it was truly flat, you'd be able to catch something. I know there's light pollution. I know there's something. I'm just saying, it's just
That's a good point. So if they can take that why can't they take the Hubble, all right, that's been up there since the 80s, and turn it around and show us the Earth?
Would you believe it?
I would. I would have believed.
I'm just saying, a flat earther, I would say they would say, "Oh, that's just a generated picture of what we want."
Now I would. Now I'd be like, "Oh, now you're going to do it." But I think what NASA has done, they
that should have been the first shot they did.
I think they created their own monster. I think to some degree they just assumed whatever, nobody, the small percentage, it'll never catch up. You'll catch up with us, But I think why the question is, why didn't they turn the Hubble around, and show us?
They probably would give some excuse like the lenses aren't.
It's made to see a trillion light years away.
So you're telling me you can look at a black section where there's no stars, and all of a sudden you pull these amazing images from the Hubble, but you can't turn the dang thing around to show the actual.
It was only meant to be basically, stationary.
Why don't they
shoot it at the moon and prove the landing zones of all the Apollo missions?
Yeah, or why don't they point it at Mars? Well, maybe they did.
I mean, great points.
But here's something else. When back to your telescope thing,
we can learn so much more from our interior solar system than we can from looking something light years away, whatever they say.
You understand how infrared works, right? I know Chris does, being in the military, right? So Chris, being in the military, you've had night vision, infrared. What are the advantages of having infrared, let's say vision? What does the infrared technology do to the atmosphere if you're trying to hide behind, I don't know, let's say smoke, clouds, dust? What does infrared do to that?
Well, it eliminates it.
Yeah, there you go. So check this out. Based on your question, Greek, I just recently saw a video, I think it was this year, and it blew my mind. There's a guy that takes an infrared camera.
You guys start sending me all this stuff.
Yeah, I will. He takes an infrared camera, and he can see miles, bro, 50, 60, 100 miles, mountains, landscape. That when he turns on, the cool thing is this is what made my mind blow up. Like he goes, he leaves the camera normal, right? And it looks like, look, you can't see the mountains. Look, those mountains. He kind of shows you there should be these are mount whatever behind there. You should be able to see them, but they're not because they're behind the curve. And you're like, yeah, of course. They're on the other side of the curve. And then he goes, watch this. He turns on his infrared camera, the feature on the setting, and then poof, all of a sudden you see all the mountains. You know what? And the thing is that the scientists, the Globers and all those, they'll say what they used to be able to say was when we would see stuff like that before infrared, refraction, a mirage. No, infrared knocks all that out. So with infrared technology, we're seeing too far is my point. So one of two things. Either it's a bigger ball than they're telling us, and I can see why they would lie about it, hide and land from us, right? Or it's flat. It's one or the other. It can't be. We're in a simulation. I don't know. But
the greatest thing about this argument, though, is the truth of it is nobody really knows for sure.
Yep.
And
you're right. No one
at
knows.
one point, we're all going to find out. I believe when you die, you get all the life's mysteries, and you're like, whoa, that was it. Whoa. Okay.
I'm gonna be pissed. I knew it was the ball, man.
That's a conversation for another time, man. Because I think we're just energy. Honestly, I think I don't think there's no big revelations. I don't think you're reunited with loved ones. I think we're all energy, and
I can see that.
That's a conversation for another time.
That's a huge conversation.
That's a whole another podcast, brother. That's a whole.
So when you talk about energy, you mean like electricity, like because you know that the Earth is negatively charged, right? And the sky is positively charged, right? Yep. Electrostatics, right? So I believe. So when you talk about, so we can talk about gravity.
He does have the energy argument. The ghost hunters, that's what they're reading is energy. So he does have,
yeah. So he like I said on that time we brought him on, he was all over the place. It was fun, but it was like I'm just like laughing at because
Seems like he's got ADD like me.
Yeah, and he was saying things. I'm like, what? So I'm like,
it almost seemed like he had so much information just about any and everything as far as
I just thought he was going to talk about NASA, and he started talking about everything. I was like,
so he just started going in, man. I think he was just trying to get it all out.
We started with the moon, and then he didn't even try and prove the moon wrong. Like he brought up a couple points, but he was bouncing. But after a while, I'm like, I just need to hear whatever he's saying. Because I'm like.
It was a great conversation.
It was fun, man. It was cool. I liked it. It was fun.
Now, the next time, it should be a little bit more structured. We're going to have questions.
The next time I told him, I said, we will have questions. I got questions, you know.
I've got like 25 questions. I kind of already know how he's going to respond.
Yeah,
but
so
I do have some questions.
I'm no longer on the fence. Like, is it flat? I mean, I know it's not a ball now. You know, well, I know it's not a ball, but I believe that it's flat, right? No, let me rephrase that. I would believe you believe it's a ball. I used to believe it was a ball, but I know it's not a ball. But there it is. I know it's not a ball, but I don't know if it's flat. Right. I still need to see, because there's questions. Well, what's the flatter? What's the model? Then what's the sun? What's the moon? You know, how do seasons work? And he kind of went into all that, you know. So I got questions about seasons. I got questions about the Southern Cross, you know, and how the Earth, how the stars rotate. I mean, he kind of went into. I remember he's talking about the Georgia Guidestones. That I was trying to get into that because it was relative to the moon and space. Sure. But he ventured off because I really wanted him to get into that because I heard an explanation on it and I was like,
all down, brother.
Oh, I got a list. I got some questions for the guy. You know, I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Going to be fun. So yeah, man, we could talk a little bit more about what we all believe. It sounds like we all are kind of just keeping an open mind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That kind of stuff.
And like you said in our earlier, it's not that I just woke up one day and says, you know what, I don't trust anybody.
Exploration is
they did it to me, man.
Fun in this.
They created me, man. They created this monster.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though I believe the Earth is a globe, exploring the flat Earth possibilities and everything. It's kind of fun to go down all these rabbit holes. Like I watch all these videos. I love exploring. Like no matter what I believe. Like I believe we went to the moon. I believe we.
It's because you have a moon.
Right now, you can track the space station on an app, and you can look up, put your telescope where they say it is, and see a thing going across. Yeah. Now, maybe I'm just dumb and I believe everything they say. But,
so you believe the stars are distant planets that were distant suns that died out a trillion years ago, and that's the remnants.
The fact is, unless we can travel there, we don't know what those are. And you just make inferences based on what you view, and that's how things are done in life. Like you learn through experience. Like we don't know.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. We don't know what they are, but what there are some things that we can measure. The inverse law of light. Have you heard of that one? I mean, that's where you take a light and you double the distance and it becomes half or a quarter its brightness. You double that distance, it becomes another quarter. So and that's a real law of light. I mean, that's physics. That's real science. You can do that now. You can test that right now in your room.
About that is that law of science was created by man. Man is shown that they're not always correct, so that's why you can't apply everything in every situation because it could be false. Just saying that's why.
So that the law of the inverse law of light, if it's
maybe
false,
the inverse law of light works on this planet and it doesn't work for outer space and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just creating stuff like creating arguments.
That's a very good point. Maybe the laws of physics don't apply to space, right? So the law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to space because they can't apply to space because how can you have high pressure versus low pressure or next to high pressure next to low pressure without some sort of barrier, right? You can't have high next to low adjacent to low without sort of some container. If I told you this, I said, "Hey, I want you to go grab me some propane. We're gonna barbecue this weekend."
That's fire, Gus. Now that's fire.
Yeah. Go grab me some propane.
Give me some gasoline.
But you can't. But leave the tank. Just bring the gas. How are you gonna do that?
Right.
That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
None of it works. None of it works. So you have to just drop beliefs. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing, like you were talking about, Greek, with the exploration for me is just seeing other people, what they believe and what they think and their perspective, and just taking all that in, man. It's
and I
to
like
me,
the
that
passion.
it's almost amazing.
Like, one thing I do like is when somebody believes something different, like rather than just conforming to everybody, he's like, I've done and this is what I believe, and he's confident in what he believes, and you got to respect somebody for that.
Hell yeah, man.
I want to know why, you know, what brought this guy to a point where he says, you know what, I don't care what anybody says. This is what I believe. Something has happened, you know, and well, actually what I'm beginning to realize, because I've been watching more of his stuff since he's been
That's actually one of the questions that I had for him, Kryptonian, is when was that aha moment? When was, you know, what got you to that wholehearted belief that you're not going to sway me for this?
There's no aha moment. There's a couple of things that keep piling up.
Yeah,
I hope
that's probably what he's gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping, you know, at least what the presentation of space was real. I mean, I was the kid that I couldn't wait to freaking, you know, I'm gonna get to go to Mars or whatever, you know, space travel, whatever. That just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen now. You know, sucks, but we'll see. Yeah, but back to that. He'll be here on the 29th, guys, and we'll
cool.
Let's just freaking hammer some questions out. Let's try to win some Bitcoin, because he's giving away 3 Bitcoin, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, for the proof.
Good luck with that. Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, and everybody, you know, definitely get your questions. Tune in on the 29th, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for Flat Earth Dave. Should be a good one, round 2. And it will be a little bit more structured this time. But I want to switch gears a little bit, because in our group chat earlier, I don't know if you saw this, Kryptonian, but I was telling these guys, I ran out to the post office. I had some stuff to drop off the post office. I pull up next to this minivan on my driver's side, and I was finishing up a phone call. So I'm sitting in my car for maybe 5 minutes, finishing up a phone call, some text messages and stuff like that, when I pulled into the parking spot. This thing I know, this lady's kid gets out of the passenger side and smacks the hell out of my door on my car with their car door. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, you know, just
when you say kid, like what, 5, 8, 9, 10, 20?
Probably around like
35-year-old kid.
8, maybe 7, 8. So he was still really young, like goofy kind of.
That's the perfect age to smash a car door.
Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe even 6. Like he was young. He was older than my daughter, my 4-year-old, but he wasn't like 10 or 12.
But it was your fault because your car was there.
So he smacks the hell out of my car. So I finish what I'm doing. I get out. Meanwhile, the mom's got 2 other small children, and he dented my door, messed up the paint. You know, it's plain as day. You can see because my car's a little bit dirty, and you know, so I was cool. I was calm. I was, you know, hey, you know, your kid did this. You know, can I get your insurance information so I can get my car fixed? You know. Man, this lady went off on me, dude. Like, just straight. The only word that I could describe to you guys in the chat was she was a Karen. Like she went full Karen on me. And well, he's a kid, and I'm like, I don't care if he's a kid or not. Like your kid, your vehicle damaged my property and damaged my property that I work hard for, I pay for, and I keep it nice and all that good stuff. You know,
this
like
is why
is pretty damn pristine. You know,
I've had this saying. It's called "Don't be a victim, be a champion." And like champions don't sit there. They have human decency. Oh, my kid did this. They apologize and they say, "What can I do to make it right?" And that's being
take
a champion.
Ownership, man.
Everyday life, you should be a champion.
Yeah.
Don't go into victim mode. Karen's going to victim mode. Oh, he's blaming me. Do you know does he understand how hard my life is? We don't need a sob story. The fact is that
everybody's got their stuff, right?
Actions have consequences.
So did she give you insurance information?
You're right. I reluctantly, like she pretty much argued with me for a good 10 or 15 minutes.
I've got a similar story. I'm telling you, man, you and me like literally are in a...
Con's got one too, man.
I have a same
Con's
story.
got one very similar. But
dude, I had the police. I had to have police come to help me with mine. They did the same thing.
I thought it was gonna get there, but she was basically just fine. Well, I'm like,
dude, what I love the most is if a man is present with the woman when that stuff happens,
it brings rationality.
I'm not being sexist about it, but it's 100% true.
The man's like,
I was sitting.
No one wants to die. Let's pay for it.
Yeah, he screwed it up.
I was sitting in a parking space, and the same thing. I don't like to park in the front row. I always say no. And this time, I was like, you know what? I did it for the ex-girlfriend at the time. I was like, I will park in the second to the front spot. I was like, screw it. So
was it one of those I don't want to walk on?
Yes. And so we're sitting in there, and then all of a sudden I hear a loud, like,
I had one of those.
The little thud, and I was like,
son of a gun, you know right where it is.
But it wasn't a kid though. Sorry, okay. It was an adult man. He was probably like 45.
An adult Karen,
right?
So I get out of the car. I'm looking at looking at the ex-girlfriend, looking at my friend, and I was like, dude, I don't even want to go out and confront them. I really don't. And then my mom happened to pull up right next to that. I was 18. My mom pulled up right next to it. She got out of that car and she just started yelling at the guy. She's like, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to try helping him out. You're not going to try pushing this off. And the guy's like, dude, don't worry. It'll just buff out. And meanwhile, it's on the crease of a fender, which you 100% know it's not coming out of that.
Yeah, good luck.
But, and then he wouldn't do anything. Wound up having to get the police to come down. The police wound up getting the information and giving it to us. And then obviously I wrote that because since he was a Karen, got to ride that for full fixing.
Sure, rental car and all that stuff. Well, sometimes, unfortunately, even the smallest blemish, you end up to blend the paint. You know yourself, being in the industry, you got to paint a good portion of the car so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb.
That's $1,200 right there. I didn't want to have to spend.
Exactly. Like literally, I guarantee you, what she did to my car door, what her kid did to my car door, it's going to be every bit of $2,000.
Yeah, when that had happened to me. Size of a $50, the size of a $50 right on the crease. It was $1,300.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that was an offender.
You guys could just be like the Greek, and this is how you make your car Karen proof. You just say, I don't care anymore. It's 12 years old. Just
he's like, you date a Karen.
My car at that point was 15 years old, but it was in pristine.
It's the
I mean, I have to kick my front bumper on to make sure it's locked in.
Okay. But if you want to talk about funny things, I did have a Honda Civic at the time, 270,000 miles. That thing had drywall screwed on the bumpers and front and back. So I used to hit shopping carts with that thing.
Is it drywall?
Drywall screw, sheetrock.
Hell yeah,
you would tape and float it.
That's the way to go.
Did you spray like a texture on it? It had like a texture on it.
That's funny.
It was beautiful.
So what was your story, Kryptonian?
Oh God, Chris is gonna love this. I just bought my AT4, Chris. I probably had 50 miles on my GMC. Okay.
Oh, that's the worst.
And my daughter wanted to go to like a shoe store or something. I'm like, and kind of the same thing, Con. I'm like, I always park in the back. I'm a guy that always parks at the end of the parking lot.
Especially with a brand new vehicle.
Oh yeah, it's because it's weird. It's like I'll see 20 spaces open. I'm like, I'm gonna take the one furthest from there. I come out of the store and everybody's parked next to me for some reason. It's like a magnet. I hate that. So,
bro, on that real quick, literally on Saturday, I went to Walmart, dude. All the way in the back, like you know how they have the first really big rows, and then they have like where people drive, they go back and forth, and then they have another row.
Yeah,
I parked in the second parking lot, all the way in the back, and our brand new Outback.
Don't go to
my
Walmart.
Brand new Outback, and a freaking dude in an 02 Dodge Caravan. The thing's rusted out, parks right next to us.
It's like, bro, I mean,
what the frick?
Like, why are you parking next to me, man? So I pull up, and I'm with my daughter, and I'm with her friend. I guess her best friend from school. So she was still, I mean, they were just out of high school, so still kind of young, I guess. I mean, immature. But I remember this. I pull up, and I'm like, actually, I was gonna park in the back. I didn't. I decided to kind of park halfway to the front. I'm like, all right. She's like, I don't want to. It's raining. I don't want to get wet. I'm like, it's not raining. So I decided to pull in to the two spots. Parked on the spot on the left, and as soon as I parked, this car just comes flying in right next to me. A little small car, pushing right next to me, and I'm like, "Damn!" Like my truck literally like shifted. That's how fast she pulled up. Boom! She didn't hit me, but I felt it, and she pops out of her car, and her door swings open, and it hits my running board or my step that I have on the right. It's on the passenger side, and she opened it hard, like boom, and that's when my truck did like this, and I was just like. And my daughter was like,
she didn't. No, she didn't.
Yeah. And I was like, and my daughter was like, oh my gosh. So like, give me a moment. So I jump out the truck. I walk around, and she's like, she's still trying. She's a big woman too, right? So she's trying to get out of the car, back out. You know, I'm hearing that sound. You know, when a truck's backing up, dee, dee, dee. That's what I'm hearing. That's how big she is. I'm I'm just waiting for her to get out of the truck, man. I mean, out of her car, and she finally gets out, and she turns around. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Ma'am, you actually hit my truck. I'm gonna need your driver's license and your insurance." She goes, "I didn't hit your truck," and I'm like, "No, actually, look." But she hit the running board or whatever, and she goes, "I didn't hit it," and she goes back to her door, and it's like she's gonna get back in her car, and she goes, "Now I hit it," and then she takes her door, and she's just bam, bam. She does it like 5 times. I'm just like,
what?
Yeah, dude. I'm just like,
Holy
whoa.
smokes.
My daughter's like, let's go, Dad. I'm like,
Ignorant are people, man.
Now,
good shot.
was this in where was this again?
This was in a public parking lot. I think we were going to like Foot Locker. It was like an outlet or something.
Dude, they got cameras everywhere, man.
Right.
The real story is Kryptonian.
So what'd you end up
Was
doing?
threatening her, and she got pissed.
Yeah, she got. All I said was, "Hey, I just need your driver's license and your insurance. We'll get to taken care of. You hit my truck, because it is public property. Police aren't going to do anything, right? So,
you might be able to get a report over the phone from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
They'll try getting info for you. That's about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's all they can really do, and they're like, "Good luck," right? So, so she says, and I whatever. She starts, just flipping me off, and she just walks into the store, and I'm just like, I'm done shopping, guys. You ready to go? And she's like, yeah. And my daughter's like, yeah, let's go. Well, her friend, her little, buddy from school, he decides to say, no, man, that's not cool. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm like, no, let's go. So we jump in the truck, and I jump in the truck. My daughter jumps in the truck, and I'm like, his name is Alex. Like, Alex, where's Alex? And I'm like, she's like, I don't know. And we're looking for him. And then finally he gets in the truck and he's like, let's go. And I'm like, what do you mean let's go? So I'm backing up.
He flattened her tires, didn't he?
He flattened her tires, dude, all 4 of them, man.
I knew it.
He found like a nail or something or a pencil. I don't know what he used, man. Or I think he just
had a knife on him or something. Like
he found a nail.
Okay.
And he put it in the what do you call it? The tire stem thing, right? Yeah, valve stem.
Yeah.
And we took him forever. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I said the same thing. Chris said, there's cameras. He's like, yeah, but I'm underage. Like, dude, anyways, long of the short, I ended up getting a phone call, So she went to the, I guess to one of the store owners. They got it on camera. And, but fortunately there was I love Smoothie King. There was a Smoothie King in that parking lot. So I happened to go there. The guy knows me there, and he had a camera facing like the front of my truck and her car. So I went straight to him. I need the footage, and he gave it to me. And that actually saved me, And because my daughter's friend was underage, they just slapped him on the wrist.
And then now you're both kind of at fault, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of. Well, no, she ended up having to pay for my, to fix it. But her insurance did. She tried to fight it, but I just remember how erratic she was. She just, I didn't hit it, and she went back into her door, and
you hit it, lady. Like
and then she goes, now I hit it, man, and she's just like looking at me, staring me in the eye, not even blinking. Bam, bam, bam. I'm just like,
so this opens up a bigger conversation for me, and I hope you guys want to get into it at some point. But it's what in the hell's going on with society and the entitlement and just the, people not taking accountability and just taking their stuff out on other people and just not being able to control their emotions and just all of this stuff just all wrapped up into one. So I'd really love to get everyone's opinions on, where all this craziness and where did we lose respect? Like what common decency, just all of that kind of stuff.
And people only liking you when you provide something to them.
When you do something for them,
you should be a good person regardless of whether they're providing something for you or not.
Agreed.
I always like the example I use is like when you go to a restaurant, the way somebody treats the server, that says a lot about that human being. If you go to a restaurant with somebody and they're rude to the server, that's they're POS. Like,
it's funny you say that, because I have a story about my ex-wife. Actually, we went to take something back. It was a long time ago. I think it was a Hex or something like that. It's not even in business anymore. And the lady wouldn't take it back because it was a sale item or bought too long ago or something, man. And she just gave this lady a wrath of stuff. And I'm like, this lady's just doing her job, following store policy, and you're just acting like a complete nut job over a $25 whatever. Like, come on. And obviously that's why she's my ex-wife. But It's just, why do people, where does all this come from, and just why? And you're seeing it more and more now in society. You know what I mean? Like it's not that it wasn't there before. And I know we got social media and you're just able to see it more now and all that stuff. But I think it's more than that, because even at like my shop, you see it with interactions with customers, the entitlement, and just like I said, the lack of respect.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not just the new generation. I noticed.
Agreed. No, I agree.
I think it's just more prevalent now that you can actually, maybe it's more visible because of social media. But even like working in a dealership, you see the people walk in like they're don't stink, and then you need to drop everything on a dime to help.
You're gonna help me right now because my car's broken. I gotta get, and they want it done
because I bought it here. You're like,
now,
no.
see, I think a little bit of that is kind of the Amazon culture. I want what I want, and I want it now, right? So I think we've kind of cultivated some of that. So I think there's a lot of things that contribute to it. And I think that's one of them.
It's weird though. It's like you can have that mentality, but then also like people don't want to work for their money and don't want to work for bettering their lives. So it's just like
they're happy being mediocre too.
It's such a weird conundrum. Just if you're putting it all together like that, it's just a perfect storm of just bull crap.
It's true.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with social media.
I do.
Kind of just collecting.
Yeah, now you get in those echo chambers on social media where you can complain. Then you have people who want to validate your with you, and then you have these victims, and then it creates this Karen attitude. Where now you're in your victim.
Yeah, you're right. It gives them a fake sense of, or a false sense of like, I think justification. Like, I've got 1,000 people agreeing with me, or 20,000. So, and nothing happened to me, And so if you go back to like the girls that go to the gym, and they're like, that guy's looking at me. You guys seen those videos, I'm sure. And
then you got the other dude that's calling out the people, calling out the pervs at the gym and stuff, and saying he was just being nice,
Yeah, I saw a video the other day where they were showing a girl and she's working out, and the guy's like doing this when he's walking by, and then he sees a camera set up behind her as she's working out, and she's got it on social media, and he's like, oh.
They're looking at me. You're like, because you're at the gym. Sorry if I made eye contact.
And you're filming yourself, so I'm looking to see what you're doing. Yeah. Like,
Well, then you got that one guy that likes to post girls working out on the gym at the gym.
I wonder who you're talking.
Yeah, and yoga pants. You got that guy.
Unfortunately, there are people like that, but I would say most people aren't like that.
I would hope that's the exception, not the norm.
No, because you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
he's sorry for bringing him up, I guess.
Yeah, I'm
sorry. Yeah. I wouldn't. All right.
But I would hope that guy is the exception and not the norm. You know what I mean?
I would like to say it's not. It's kind of like
50-50.
I have a solution for this gym problem, okay?
Well, you get into topics like that. You're getting into topics like I don't know if you know. You would actually know a Kryptonian. Even NR would know. If your daughters would know about the classes that you have to do, or not classes, but more of like a seminars that they have to go to when they first start college, and it basically teaches men that they can't do stuff to the opposite.
Well, they have those at certain businesses as well. It's how to conduct yourself in a social setting with the opposite sex.
You literally when you go to college, as I went, you have to watch and basically take a course. It's like a 2 or 3 day thing. You have to watch, and you have to take a little test. And like, you can't do this to, you can't do this to girls. You can't, or to, other people.
And most of it's common sense, right?
Yeah, you would feel like it is common sense. Teach it,
right?
Gross.
Okay, so then that's another question.
Help people,
Then that brings up another point. As part of this, to me, is the degrading of the family unit, right? I feel like that the
I wouldn't even say the degrading. I would say the dismantling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about, in my view, it's definitely not my dad's America, as I like to say, and just the dismantling of the family. Now I like where the society, the government, the authorities, right? their objective is to get young women to believe that they don't need or women, women and young men, that they don't need to get married, have kids. They can go and a girl can go pop out a bunch of kids. Guy can go be, have as many kids you want. You don't have to be together
because they all believe they can be.
Yeah, or like this one, 30's the new 20 or 50's the new 30. All that crap. And it's not. It's at the end of the day.
I'm still old. I'm getting older by the day.
Well, but the thing is, it's like with my daughters. They're very fortunate. I'm very blessed that they didn't start popping kids out. When they were of age. And they're wanting to get married and hopefully do the right family unit thing correctly and everything, and because they're wanting to they see the struggles that a lot of their friends have. And it's not worth it. But point being is that, just the onslaught in social media, in the media, in the news, whatever, of just how family units are they're almost like to be looked down upon. Like, oh, you're married or oh, you're, you're not seeking if you're a mom, you don't have a job, you want to be at home with your kids. What kind of woman are you? You should be out there, stuff like that,
Well, I think it's that, but then another part of me, and I think that's a part of it. I think another portion of that is people are so quick to think the grass is greener on the other side. They don't want to work to make their relationship work. Because let's be honest, a relationship, when you're in, after that honeymoon period's over, you're in 3, 5, 10, 15 plus years. It takes work, right? It's not that easy. And I feel like people they give up very easily, or they get into I'm not happy. And then, you hear it again on social media and everywhere. It's, oh, well, if you're not happy, just, step into something new. And it's, well, you're just kind of throwing all that away. I don't know, man. It's, I feel like just we're a society that just throws things away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how they are with every subject that they're on. Like, talk about jobs, talk about passions, talk about relationships, talk about like home care, talk about like hygiene care. They know that it's too hard, I'll do something else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it is like the social media culture. You look at TikTok, like attention spans are 15 seconds. People are like, next video. Next
video.
Not
even that. It's just that they have to, like, I forget what comedian. He's hilarious. I think his name is Ryan George on YouTube. But he had like his funny short video that has him talking about the fact that there's another video underneath it to keep your attention, so that when you're done listening to him for 5 seconds, you can watch the car racing around. And then when he stops talking and goes, oh wow, that car is really going around there. I don't even know if I can do the video anymore. This is pretty crazy. What was I talking about again? And then the short ends. It's literally true, though.
But he's right. But he's right, though. He's right. Absolutely right. It's about. Unfortunately, we as far as Americans, we're called the consuming nation, right? That's all. We're a bunch of consumers, and man, they've got our attention. The media and Hollywood and all that stuff, but. I guess gone are the days where back to the family unit, where it was about family. Like I'm 46 years old now, and I feel like I used to think, man, the older I've gotten, the more busier I've gotten, and it's really not even that. I'm just no longer wasting time. And when I realized that I'm no longer going to waste time on things that don't matter, and I want to prioritize things, then I realized I don't have enough time. And that's why I keep my day full. And my days are all about execution. I want to be able to lay my head down going, I took care of everything that I said I was going to take care of today. And if I didn't, it's going to be the first thing the next day. But, and where I just remember being in my 20s and mainly in my 20s and my 30s, where 30s were a blur. I don't even remember them, unfortunately. But my 20s, I just remember a lot of time I wasted, partying, parties and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But now I'm more focused now, right? And what I love about hanging out with you guys is we're all different ages here, different life experiences, different backgrounds, but we all have one goal in mind, and that's to what? To be a damn good human, take care of our families, be successful, make some sort of impact on our friends and the world around us. And I think that's what unites us, especially because we all come from different backgrounds. But in different life experiences. But man, the fact that we can get together and talk and have some, I mean, we have different belief systems, Greek, but you know, you believe in moon rocks and I believe in candy rock, you know, it's rock candy. So, but
people invented everything. So
and Con smokes rock.
Well, you know, I wanted to go back on that when you were talking about Greece earlier. Do you know the proper official name for Greece?
Oh, go ahead. What is it?
Elada.
You what?
It's Elada.
Elava.
No, it's
Elava. She said
Hellenist. Hellenist.
Bacterium.
What is
What?
it? Oh,
You guys don't know you don't know where that comes from?
Oh,
the old bacterium.
He's like the bacterium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm
you tell us, Greek. You tell us.
It's
everybody goes, "Oh, you're
Hellenic
Greek. You like
Republic.
the back door." Oh, dude. No, I don't.
There's a reason. Stereotypes come from somewhere. Stereotypes come from somewhere, and I'll tell you off air
We
where it came
invented everything.
from.
Okay, so
I'll tell you where it came from off air. About
we
that.
invented NASA too.
At least from what I've been told.
No, the Germans invented NASA. Walt Disney did. What's Greek? What was your answer to that?
Yeah, what's your
Chris?
answer, Chris?
Oh,
The
Gandalf.
Hellenic Republic.
The Hellenic
Okay.
Republic.
Yeah, that's the official name of Greece. It's really not named Greece. Everybody calls it that.
But why? Why do they call it Greece? Is it the food?
No.
No,
Food's
food's
really
great.
good.
Food's good. Food's damn
great.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's
like
weird
some-
because
Food's damn
like
good.
even Mexico's not Mexico. Was it what's the Mexican the country of Mexico is like the United States of Mexico, I think is what it
yeah, something like that. Yeah, because they pretty much have, you know,
They have official names.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, the
I
United
did not know that.
Mexican States is the official
I was just
legal
Googling
name of Mexico.
United Mexican.
What's Canada? Oh, Canada.
I don't know.
It's called It's called Montreal. No, I'm joking.
Oh man.
It's called
Bad joke.
the Queensland. You know, Canadians don't own their own land, man. It belongs to the king, you know, the queen or the king now, I guess. Yeah. It's on loan. That's what's sad.
I mean, technically, if you want to dig real deep, the corporation of the United States, it's our own land by the crown too. If you want to get into that conversation in another podcast. And on that note too, I last time we talked to Dave, I brought up the whole like the state nationals and the corporation government, you know, United States corporation, all that stuff. He told me to reach out to him. He could put me in touch with somebody that could help me do a deeper dive. So I emailed him just the other day. I haven't heard back from him yet.
He actually emailed me. Actually,
I'm waiting because I've been reading books left and right, and this topic really interests me, man. Because did you see the stuff I sent to you about not having to pay federal taxes?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm all about it.
I'm all
like
about
if I
that
can
too.
pull this off, and apparently there are people that legally do this, man. I'm about it, and I'm sure it comes with its set of aggravation and all that good stuff that comes along with it, harassment and everything else. But if I can pull that off, man, I'm down to try. If that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm down to try too. And he says that what I have is not the state national thing. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's completely different and it's so simple.
But it's along those lines of what their thought process. But it's not.
And he told me about a guy to go check out on YouTube. Okay. Have you responded to him? Has he told you about the guy?
Not yet.
Greek?
No.
Was it
I just emailed him maybe a day or two ago.
Okay. It took him a few days to get back to me. And I thought maybe he emailed you the same thing. I'll forward it to you.
It probably will be the same thing. Yeah. He'll probably just forward me the same.
So there's a guy on YouTube. He says, go check out. And I went to check the guy.
Shoot me the link.
Absolutely will. Absolutely will.
This guy.
Yeah. But that stuff, man, I've been just doing. And man, it brings me all the way back to the banking system. And, it's all a big ruse, man. There's
so many rabbit holes we can go down. It's like we can just make a whole series on all our rabbit holes.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like I honestly believe the banking system had JFK killed. Again,
CIA absolutely. I believe absolutely they did.
Yeah.
We have something we all agree on in that one.
Yeah, I really do. And I mean, then it's funny how owners of Chase Bank are put on the Warren Commission, and I mean, come on now, like it's
my friend has
again
like,
another
with,
podcast, but we're definitely going to touch on that one because that's a big
Yeah,
industry.
I wanna get into
Titanic's
that.
another one of those things.
I like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My friend's big on that
JP
one.
Morgan just
JP
happens
Morgan
to not
and
get on
Titanic.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to get in the Titanic one because you know
Yeah.
the bull crap that we've been told and we've been
Yeah.
you know what they sold us. You know,
Yep.
it's like it's just
Yep.
you know they made it a love story.
I'm king of the
one more than
world.
that, but-
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on that. I don't think Jack had to die.
Yeah.
There was
I feel
room
you.
for 2 on the freaking
back,
door.
Yeah, but then she'd have been
She
more in the
proved it.
water, man.
So
and
it's
it
a
wouldn't have been
story
as good of a
about it.
story,
It's a
right?
story about
She
a
was
chick
with
that
child,
cheats on
bro.
her
She was with
fiance with a homeless guy,
Yeah, but she wasn't happy.
and then
Chris.
she kills him at the end.
She does kill him. Yeah.
She does.
Wow.
She's like, Jack.
know.
It's like, really?
She has
couldn't
this
fit on
diamond
there?
worth $50 million. She just keeps it in her pocket for all these
Right.
years. Like,
Right.
come on.
I know, right? Well, she
Throws
looked like
it in
she,
the
if you look
ocean
at the
at the end?
pictures. I don't know, man. She looked like she lived a pretty good life, honestly.
Yeah.
They want you to feel sorry for her. She lived to 98. She has a family and all this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a good movie though. It was a bit long, but it was a good movie.
Hey, check this out. So you wanted to check the?
I had to see that
Canada
movie
thing?
twice. I had to
Yeah.
act like I didn't see it the first time. It was a long story, Ray, because it was a great date movie, man. You know,
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was good, man. Another one's The Notebook, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, The
That's-
Notebook.
The Notebook.
that
dude.
one brought me to some tears. That's a great book, man.
Yeah,
great
man.
movie,
Yep.
great movie. Book too,
Okay, it's about a dude that reads
like
the
that one.
same
That's
book
a good story, man.
over and over again to his wife because she forgets. I mean, really?
It's good, dude. It's
You
good. It's,
son
I
of
it's
mean,
lovely, man.
where's that good?
That's what we're missing now in society, man. People
Yeah.
just be like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm going on to the next one. Leave them in a nursing home." You know what I mean? Like,
So Chris
is
obviously
true.
fast forwarded to the end. If you actually watch the movie, right,
right?
it's really not about him reading a book to her.
Listen, all I'm saying is, when was
he's
the
going
last
deep dive
time
into this.
that you and your
I love you
significant
guys,
other
man.
stood out in the rain, kissing while it's pouring rain and
Been
all
there,
that kind
dude.
of crap? That
Been
is
there.
over the top Hollywood.
Been there,
garbage.
I
man.
want a
I've
lady
been
who will
there.
kiss me.
I've
in
done
the
that,
pouring
but not
rain.
by choice. You know, I mean, our
Okay,
car broke
because
down.
she was there. That guy's just a big baby. Now I like James Garner though. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
Do you know what's sad?
that's
You
what.
guys
That's the only
bragging
reason why you
about
watched
8
the movie.
movies. I don't know
Are
that.
we watching Rockford Files? Why is he old?
I like seriously. No,
That's
actually,
good.
I like him. I like Rockford Files, but I like him as Maverick.
Yeah, no, Maverick was good, man. That was a good show.
Now, that's a slick cowboy back then.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
But look, but hold on. I can't let you just take a dump on the Notebook, okay? You gotta understand. It wasn't about him reading a story to his dying wife. It was the story he was reading to his dying or his forgetful dying wife.
Yeah, but
you
you
missed
know,
the point.
he embellished that story. If she ever got her memory back, she'd probably be like, "No,
Dude,
that's
you know
not
what?
the way it
That's
happened."
not how it went down.
You know what? That's actually pretty cool. I think a good conversation. He actually was lying the whole time.
The
you
whole
know?
time.
There you
I
go.
was
There
like,
you
Yeah,
go.
I was such a great. It was
Yeah.
such a.
He
great
worked
life.
for
He was like,
NASA.
I
Yeah,
hated
he
learned
you
how to
the
do
whole
it.
Like we
time.
went to the moon.
Yeah, we went to
Yeah,
the
he
moon.
learned how to pull it off.
The Earth is round.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
That's funny.
All right. Listen to this though. After World War II, Canada was referred to as Dominion of Canada, and then it was officially changed to Canada in 1982.
Really? That's interesting. Facts, you know.
Yeah,
Facts
that's
you
a name.
don't-
I didn't
something
think.
new every
you
day.
needed to
I
know.
thought it's Canada. It's always been Canada, but I guess it wasn't. It was.
It's Canada, eh?
Hey, boy. Oh, Canada.
The Dominion of Canada. Where when did someone come up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know, but on the track they're on now, man, they're not even going to be Canada anymore. They're just going to be. I cannot do nothing.
Yeah, I found that to be kind of weird because
I had to throw that out there.
somebody
Can't do that.
somebody I follow, someone took a screenshot and sent it to this person, and this person was talking about it, and evidently certain social medias are blocked in Canada, and this person took a screenshot and said, "I can't see your stuff. Can you email it to me?" It's like, why can't you see it? And she
You can't
said, "Well, we're not
misgender
allowed
somebody
to."
in Canada. They'll arrest your ass. You know. You can't. If someone comes in and buys a cup of coffee and says, "Excuse me, sir, what would you like?" You know, I'm a ma'am, and if you don't apologize, your ass is going to jail. I mean,
really?
Well, I saw a video of
That's crazy.
Justin Trudeau back long time ago. He,
That's a whole
you know,
nother
younger
podcast
guy,
in itself too.
maybe
What?
20 years ago, but he
In
It's a
blackface?
whole other topic if you get me started on stuff
Yeah.
like that with the he,
Yeah.
she's, and sheesh,
Yeah.
whatever.
well, he said that
Ridiculous,
he
man.
was like campaigning to run for something maybe 20 years ago, and he was complaining, he was defending gun rights because he said that when they take away your gun rights, that's when they start taking away your freedoms. And that was like a 30-second interview, and it was kind of hazy, and he was a lot younger. Then it goes to it's illegal to buy, sell, or trade a handgun in Canada from this day forward. And it's like, dude, you just said this a few years ago. It's like, that's why people get upset with politicians, because they're like, oh yeah, I like
so
you on this,
fickle, man.
and then they do something different, and you're like, wait, what are you doing? You know. But
Yeah, man.
You know, for those that don't understand why guns are so important to Americans, it's you know, in America, you know, some will say, well, we're not as free as we think we are. You know, don't pay your taxes, you'll see how free you are. And they're right. We don't pay our taxes. We don't. You know, you don't.
It's not perfect, right?
It's not perfect,
Right.
of course. You know, I mean, there are some things. However, you know what I've grown up to understand, and I think, and just what I've really, why I love this country is because not only do we have the freedom of speech, we have the First Amendment, we have the Second Amendment that protects that freedom, and then we have, most importantly, or just as important, we have property rights. Like if I go buy a house or some dirt, I have more rights in the Constitution to keep that property, to keep that dirt for me and my own, than any other country and nation on this on this planet, right? Like, you know, you buy something in, you know, another country, the government come in and take it, right? And they can still do it here, of course, you know, eminent domain, we all know that stuff. However, think about this. So if I'm in Canada and I own I don't know, we all, you know, I own 100 acres or something like that. Everybody up here owns some land. We all live within miles of each other, you know, and none of us are armed. We don't have guns. You know, we can't even hunt or anything, protect ourselves. And then all of a sudden, the government comes in and says they want to build shopping malls, freeways, whatever. They want to take my land, you know. And I'm like, hey guys, they're going to take my land. There's nothing I can do about it. They're going to take yours next. What can y'all do? Nothing. But in America, right? In America, now let's put us in America, and I say, hey guys, they're coming after my land that's been in my family for 100 years. They're going to take my land. They're going to take your land too. What we as armed Americans go, no, you're not. See, the reason why they want to take your guns is because they don't want to get shot taking away your guns, you know, so that's why they want to disarm you. But most importantly, it's if we don't have the ability to protect ourselves against the government, not only criminals, but a tyrannical government, not just a government, but a government that would throw tyranny at us, right? Then we're no different than any other nation on this planet that's ever been, I think. And that's what I love about America is we kind of, it could all be an illusion, you know. I may think I'm free, but right, America, right? But I just really feel like I have, you know, having a gun doesn't make me feel like, you know, like I'm a badass or something like that. It's just I'm just happy that I can protect myself. You know, I can level the playing field if somebody
it comes with a degree of comfortability. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
like I'm a little bit more comfortable when I'm packing, going around, and you know, now that
I don't feel like a
go to
superhero.
Baltimore City and stuff. Like I feel better when I'm packing. You know,
I feel better in my home. I don't carry, but like I feel better in my home knowing that if somebody were to try to break in, you got to come.
Can protect
I have
yourself.
a way to protect myself.
Right.
Yes, I have swords. Okay.
Me too.
And more so,
Sword,
somebody
you
were
have
to
to be
hurt my
within 6
family.
feet. You have to be within 5 feet of somebody with a sword. That's the problem. People always say, "Oh, buy a taser or something. Buy this." You have to get
somebody can get to you. Somebody can get to you in 20 feet. I think that it's like the 20 feet rule or 20-foot rule or something like that. If somebody's charging you and they get within 20 feet, they can get to you really fast. So
that's why I don't like when they give women
that would have been a problem.
Knife can do some damage,
quickly.
man.
Yeah, man, very quickly. Yeah. no doubt.
Like mace is okay, but like in order to use it effectively, you literally have to be right next to the person, and sometimes they can get to you and block you before.
And it doesn't always work. If the guy's on meth or coke, I mean, mace ain't doing shit.
Well, a taser, man, and I've seen people on PCP. I mean, I had a friend that was on PCP, got tased, and he's laughing. You know what I mean? Like,
I saw a guy get tased, and he body slammed the cop that freaking tased him. Knocked the cop out. I think broke the cop's neck or collarbone. You know, and it's
crazy stuff.
It's crazy.
I get tased, I'm going down.
Yeah, I ain't getting tased.
I'm That's different or something. You know,
I'm not going to put myself in a situation to get tased. I mean,
I don't even. We
started getting ready.
We have shotguns. Like in my house, I think there's like 6 shotguns throughout.
You got like what, birdshot? You doing slugs? You're doing a little bit of both. What do you got? You got a little secret potion. So like
12 gauge
pigeons.
12 gauge buckshot.
Ouch.
Yeah, that'll.
I don't know exactly what you shoot, what type of bullet you use for trap, but that's what I got
for trap. 12 gauge or buckshot.
Yeah, I don't know. It has all the little beats in it.
Yeah, buckshot.
Yeah.
All I know
I mean, you don't want to be hunting with that and all that stuff. I mean, that.
But close range, 5, 7, 12 yards.
It's more. And these are pump action, like shotgun 12 gauge and stuff like that. Right. And it's more the noise of that loading.
Yeah, that's enough to get somebody running. You don't.
And then the loud noise.
I'm out. It's like, dude, that's what I was using for trap. By the way, was a freaking pump. And everyone else is using a trap gun, and I'm using a pump. I had a disadvantage, but it was fun.
Oh, but if you get good at it, man,
you did well. You said for your first time, you did really well.
Yeah, dude, they were all impressive. They were all just flabbergasted that the first shot I did, I knocked it out of the sky. Literally, they're like, "What?"
Trap, you're talking about skeet, right? I mean, I guess you call it trap down there. Well, trap down here is ground and skeet sky.
The only one I hit is the one I threw at the tree.
Well, skeet's different than trap.
Yeah, skeet's in the air, birds, right? If you're shooting, but skeet's trap is the if you're shooting like a fox or a rabbit, right? Mm-hmm. It's ground game, right? Is that right? Is that correct? Because we have ranges here. We have trap or we have skeet shoots, right? So the trap is, pull and it rolls the disc on the ground, and you got to try to shoot it before.
Well, how they were doing it, it varies.
Was it going in the air or was it on the ground? Was it both?
It's in the air.
Okay. We just call it skeet shooting here. So, but my point is, I guess the point I was going to make, if you get really good at that with a pump, hats off, man. That's hard to do, man.
Yeah, honestly. It's not an easy.
Dude, it was heavy. Easy. It was heavy holding it up there. I was this. I'm like, I've never held something this heavy and tried to aim it like that. And
that's what she said.
Pump. Yeah.
Okay, mister.
How did your shoulders feel after the first time?
All right.
I don't know how I want to answer that.
Sorry,
now,
Dad.
Sorry. But it's definitely, I can understand why you don't use a pump for that sort of stuff. I can understand why you use a single shot or a double shot. For
too many pumps.
I had a semi. I have a semi. I had one. I don't have it anymore. I had a Weatherby, semi shotgun. And I took the plug out, so I got 5 shots out of it rather than 4. But that was fun. For skeet, right? Boom, 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 boom. My shoulder was killing me, man.
Yeah, man.
I love shooting shotguns, but man, I cannot do it you should be able to, but
man, we were there 2 hours when I went. My shoulder was like dead the next day.
That's why Greek's in physical therapy now, man.
Yeah.
It's because of that. It's because of the shooting the shotgun.
It probably didn't.
Are you shooting 12 gauge and your shoulders are hurting?
Yeah. Well, they're kids, Chris. They're kids.
What the hell? How are you doing it? Are you like holding it like let?
What got me? My shoulder didn't hurt. My shoulder didn't hurt me. What wound up was fatiguing was just your arm from holding up.
Just holding the gun like this hurts my
because you're sitting there and you're holding it, and you got to put the next round in. You got to sit there and wait, and then you chamber it, and then you do it, and you have to sit there and wait.
You guys are all under the assumption that I'm a strong human being. Okay, look at these scrawny arms,
bro. You're what, 30 years old?
Greek, it's all about where you tuck the butt of the
where you tuck the butt, Greek. It's all about where you tuck
We're watching there, Chris.
Where I was tucking the butt is right where I had my surgery and my scar tissue.
Hold on. Yeah. This is going to be a short. I want you to go back, Greek, and I want you to take this 5-second clip out where Chris says Greek. It's where you tuck the buck. Tuck the butt.
The butt.
Of the wood. Of the wood.
He goes, Greek is all where you tuck the butt of the wood. Greek is like
all where you tuck the butt of the wood.
It's the butt
Omni
of
elites.
Oh my!
You got to do what the Greeks do. You got to tuck the butt.
There you go. There you go.
No, but you're right. You're right.
You know where that came from, don't you?
tucking the butt.
Where's that from?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that was Chris. You know where that came from, right?
It came from my
Republic of
grandpa.
Helena,
It's like tuck your goddamn,
yeah,
tuck your butt in your shoulder. What the hell's wrong for you?
That's what the ancient Greeks.
You go bird hunting, Chris? You ever duck hunting or anything or doves?
Yeah. You sit in the blinds, and most of them you did, and then
That's
all
a
of a
lot
sudden
of
everybody just stands up, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. And then you're done
And
for
the
the season.
dogs,
You get your 10 birds.
In my yard.
Those dogs are the absolute most wonderful dogs I've ever been around. Hunting dogs, trained hunting dogs.
Oh yeah,
they are so. They're like playful, everything like that. You stand up and you go shoot. They're like, and they're just ready
to go to work.
They don't mess around, and they wait for their command, and bam, they're gone. They come back, they drop. They're like, yeah, hell yeah. Then they go back to playing, and those dogs are just the most amazing dogs.
Duck Hunt, the video game's real.
Hell yeah, that's what got me started, man. That's what ruined me, man. When I would say ruined me, that's what gave me the love of guns. My dad bought me Duck Hunt when the first Nintendo came out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was over, man. I had. See, I had the original Nintendo. I didn't get the orange and gray gun like all you little kids did. I had the gray on gray. Gray on gray.
I had the gray on gray joint.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
And
it never knew how it knew where I was aiming at the TV though.
Yeah, I remember the TV flashing,
Yeah, I'm like, how does it know I'm aiming in the upper left? There's no way. How does this? I didn't know how it worked. I still
infrared.
Do you guys have
infrared? Back to how you can see further than. Go ahead.
Do you guys have shotguns at your doors?
At my doors? No, I have my ARs at my doors.
No, I've got a 4-year-old, so
yeah,
Well, yeah,
I have a
I'm just
pug.
joking, man. I'm just joking.
I have a mean pug. He will give you that snarl. He's giving me the snarl right now. He's like, I got to go to potty right now.
I grew up with that. There's like every entryway in the corner of the door, right behind the door. There's a sitting there.
And my first marriage,
we're in different territories. We're in different states.
Yeah, but
like here you can have one in every room.
Yeah, but that comes back to, I think, with all the
you're
gun
in God's
violence.
I have one hidden in the closet close to the door.
Yeah, but with all the gun violence and all that stuff, it comes back to, again, the family being dismantled. It comes back because, like you said, man, I'm sure your dad, your grandfather taught you the gun and how to respect it and all that type of stuff. It comes back to people not having the respect for other people at all, respect for life. And then the other thing too, especially with the younger generation that I see, they're so quick to get disrespected over words.
True. Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not going to disrespect. Who wants to pick up a gun because they got disrespected over words?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I hate to say this, but it really comes the way I see it. I think that young boys and some girls and stuff like that, they have natural aggression. And I do think that when you had arguments and beefs and stuff like that came up in school, when you'd put on the boxing gloves and like the gym teacher would be like, we're going to box it out and everything like that. They stopped doing that. Oh, yeah. Then they instead of doing that, the after school fights and stuff. And usually there's a lot of talking, a little bit of shoving and everything. And then everybody was like buds afterwards and everything. And they're not allowed to do that anymore. So now it's more like they have no way of this aggression and they play less sports and they do less. So they have no way to get this aggression
outside activities.
There's only one outlet. It's like, I'm going to go kill a guy.
Sometimes you need to punch somebody out.
But that's what my point is, that we tell them that they can't do this and that their aggression is wrong. So then these young men and young boys and stuff, and like I said, some girls, this aggression just builds up and they explode. And they do things that they would not normally do, especially previous generations.
Yeah, when you don't have
a problem with women and the vice versa for women. I mean, I remember being back to your point on that, Chris. I remember back in my day, which not like I'm as old as
back
you are.
in your
but,
day, you act like you're 90.
Yeah.
But I remember.
Well, it was last century. If
Uphill
you think about
both
like
ways.
It was a century ago.
Yeah.
Uphill both ways, barefooted on glass,
in the
right?
snow.
In the snow.
My grandpa's favorite story.
And I had the
In the
flu.
village of Greece, I used to walk to school with no shoes. You like you have shoes.
I remember getting in a fight. I was in the 7th grade. My dad had me in karate, martial arts, whatever. So I thought, when you first get into it, you think,
You're Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bruce Lee. And they used to tell me that's Chinese. This is Taekwondo is Korean, or Japanese. But I remember, well, that'd be Korean. But I remember I got in a fight in the 7th grade. I remember some guy was like just talking crap about a guy next to my locker, and I was just like, man, hey, shut up, bro. I started talking crap to the guy, and he looks at me, he's like I remember he's just like, hey, look, I don't know you. I'm gonna let that go. And I'm like, what? So I'm just mouthing off. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna take you out. Blah, I'm gonna kick you. Blah blah whatever. And I was saying other things, of course, as I should have been saying. And I remember my locker mate was like, Julian, you know who that is? Like, I don't care who it is. He goes, shut up, man. And I was like, no, man. And so all of a sudden he goes, I'll meet you after school. I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you. So 7th grade, I'm out. We go out behind the school, a little baseball field. And as I'm walking up to this fight, that I think I'm just going to do a kick and it's going to be over like the movies, right? Like I think I'm Van Damme or something. My locker
Steven
mate.
Seagal.
Yeah. He goes, he's like a Golden Globes champion boxer, for his age or something. Right. And I'm like,
What?
Yeah. What? And
this is why Kryptonian thinks the Earth
I'm
is
a
flat.
white belt. I've been taking karate for a month.
I was purple.
Right.
No, but I remember going, well, I'll still take him out, And so I remember kind of squaring off with him, and he just like, are you sure you want to do this? He was so polite about it, man. The guy was a class act, man. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, just whatever. So everybody's like, fight. And he just kind of got his little, squared up with me. And before I can even move, he just said, tap, tap, jab, jab, pop, pop. And I just remember hearing my forehead go thunk, thunk twice. And I was on the ground. I'm like, ow. I kind of get up. And if you guys remember that movie, Friday, we're like, damn, you got
knocked. Yeah.
Exactly what happened, bro. My buddy was like, bro, you got knocked out. And I'm just like, bro, help me up. He helped me up. I remember going home. My eye was swollen, man. And my dad was pissed at me. I get home and I'm just sitting on the couch and he walks in and he's like, what happened to you? Did you get in a fight? I was like, yeah. And he goes, what happened? What happened? I was like, I go, Dad, I opened my mouth. I was just talking mess, and he goes, you shouldn't do that. I was like, I'll never do that again. I never have done that again. I learned my lesson,
It takes one time for smart people.
Oh yeah. So I remember going back to school. I remember having to put a piece of meat on my not that really, but frozen meat or something. I go back. I probably missing this. I was embarrassed. I go back to the school, a couple days later, and everybody's like, kind of like, oh man, you got knocked out. But he actually shut everybody up. He goes, no, everybody leave him alone. He didn't know who I was. And
he at least stood up and
yeah, that's what he said. He goes, he's brave because and I was new there. I was probably only there for a few months, but he was cool about it. We ended up becoming friends. And
like you said, man, class act. It sounds
a class act, dude. I'll never forget that. So he taught me humility, and he also taught me, integrity. Like, hey, look, he's like, because I really could have hurt you.
Well, he still had respect for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He could have just completely just knocked my teeth out, right? But he just told me. And you got to be mouthing off.
Responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lesson that never let your mouth write a check your ass can't cash, right? So I learned very quickly.
Yeah, man.
So what I did from that moment on is I started I got staying in martial arts and stuff. I just walked quietly with a big stick at that point. I've been in many fights after that, but That's the first time that was the first and last time I ever initiated it. I tell you that.
That's when the legend of Kryptonian was born.
Yeah, that's when I
Pew
said.
Pew State started.
It's funny, yeah.
That's why
funny
he carries a
gun
gun now,
gun.
because he can't cash checks with his hand.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's funny.
I have a similar story to that, Kryptonian. I got my head
it.
beat into the concrete. Dude
Yeah,
just
man.
slammed my head to the concrete a couple of times. I was running my mouth to somebody I shouldn't have been, and he taught me a valuable lesson.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it takes. I actually learned my lesson. Right, you learn that lesson.
Yes, sir.
I've never gotten punched in my life.
I have not either.
No, I'm going to punch you next time I see you.
No,
I went,
the only fights
You
I
got to
got
at least get
into
punched
was
once.
What
my
about the
bro
throat?
is the only one I got in fights with, but he was so much smaller than me because I was always, bit. It wasn't even a fight.
I think that's a testament, though. That means
You're probably being because you're a big guy, you're tall and everything. So you're
But
probably
also-
people don't want to fight you. Like
it's in my nature too, where I don't want to fight you. Like if I fight you, my goal is not
I won't fight
to
somebody
just
nowadays.
Fight you.
I'll walk
Yeah,
away
yeah, of course. At this age, I'm like, even
too.
my mindset is like, why fight? Being men, guy.
I'm more Indiana Jones. Honestly.
You got a whip.
In MBM
No.
days.
I got
I
the
will
other
get
thing.
crazy though if you mess with my family or friends.
Indiana Jones, you walking around with a vest and a whip? What's going on, bro?
No. What does Indiana Jones do when it's the most famous
run?
scene?
He runs, man.
No, he doesn't run.
He
That
runs
guy,
him,
that guy's got
smashed by
that
a
sword
bullet.
in that
He
crowd
shoots
and
him.
everything.
I got you.
He's-
Yeah.
It's like
Just-
I have no time for any of that
Yeah.
stuff. I wouldn't shoot you, but I'd be like, look, I got
I'm
a
gonna
gun.
shoot you.
So, let's
He's
just
like, hey, look, hold my whip while I
A
shoot
shotgun
you.
in every door.
Right.
Yeah, let's just stop it right here. We'll talk about it, whatever. But
Yeah.
let's stop it.
That's
An
how I
armed
am.
society
I'm
is a polite
non-confrontational.
society.
Yeah, I do believe that.
I believe that too.
100%.
I've had people that have been super upset with me, and it's like, everybody, when people understand, when you're waving, you're doing something, you're acting aggressively and you're acting stupid. Yeah, people get nervous and stuff, but you can just be very calm and be like, hey, I have a weapon, and they realize, then they step back a little bit. You don't want to scare them, but you want to just de-escalate everything and make it better. But I have a similar story to you. When I was 14 years old, I was like 13 years old. I went to New York to stay with friends, and the guy across the street was a professional boxer, and he had a nephew that was like 10 years old. And I used to hang out with him. I'd hang out with him and watch him. They would box it, and he would train his young, nephew and stuff like that. So they're like, "You want to box?" And I'm like, yeah. I never really boxed. It would just always be the fist fight and stuff and everything. And this 10-year-old, and I was like, he was a lot smaller than me. And I was all, I don't want to be messing with this 10-year-old boy. Well, we ended up doing it, and it lasted like 10 seconds, and he knocked me out like
A 10-year-old?
I'm like laying down, and I wake up
Oh,
like everything's hazy and everything. And I was like, what? And he's 10 years old, and he was a great kid though. And he was like, I'm sorry, and all this stuff. And I'm like, fine. But by the end of that summer, I had boxed like all the time, and every summer for years I'd go there. But
that's exactly what I did. I realized that you know what? I mean, I was in Taekwondo. It's the art of kick and punching, but not like boxing. So I made it a point to go learn to box after that. And it became more. And I got into kickboxing and stuff. But you got knocked out by a 10-year-old. And that's a story.
a 10-year-old that was like, dude, from memory, as I get older, he's smaller than what he probably was, but he was like half my size. I don't think that that's true. He probably wasn't that, but he was small, and he just like reached up and knocked me out. 10-year-old.
It's all about technique, right? And skill. If they know where to hit you.
Yeah, he knocks me out, and then he's like, "Man, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Why, dude? That was awesome."
That's so funny, man. Yeah.
I always wanted to do what's that, Krav Maga, that close quarters combat stuff.
Yeah.
I always wanted to get.
I took a
into that.
jujitsu class.
Oh, I think
And
jiu-jitsu is
our instructor was like tiny, and there was like big football players in our class in college, and he actually told us to try and attack him, and he was just taking
Throwing
us to the
guys
floor like it was
around,
nothing,
yeah.
and he would put you in a hold, and then you just go like this, and he'd let you out, and we're like, man,
That's
crazy,
like that
what?
Odie stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Crazy
know.
stuff.
Odie's all nice and everything. He's like, "Hey, it's good to see you guys." You know, what's happening? You're like, man,
That guy kicked my ass.
I'm not
that
sure.
guy's too nice because he can.
That's why you should never start fights, because you
Right.
never know what that person knows.
man.
There's a lot of stuff that, like, you think, oh, you're big and strong, and it doesn't matter.
And you know what? And that's another thing too. Like with women, I mean, I see it a lot, man. Those women are out there training hard, a lot more than they were when I was younger. And like when they're not training hard and they're like shopping or something, they just look like a regular girl. You know, some of those the competitors in Taekwondo and stuff like that. You know, they're out there, but then when you see them when they're not like in their, competing and everything, just look like a regular girl. Nowadays it's like, you got to be smart, man. You can't be running your mouth and being the Karens and all that kind of stuff. You can't do that stuff. You just never know. There are people out there that, you never know what they've been through. I mean, if you think about it emotionally and then physically, you might as well, like, some of those people will whip your butt, and then the other ones, why would you want to treat people that way? I mean, emotionally they may have a lot going on, and here you are being a Karen to them, and or whatever that phrase Karen is. What's the equivalent to a guy? I heard someone said that a while back. They
Ken,
said,
maybe.
Was it
Ken? I don't know.
I heard
Ken
at one point, but
Kevin. I don't know. Who knows?
You're being a Carol.
Maybe
you're
Chris.
Being a Carol.
You're being a Chris.
Carol could be a girl's guy.
No, if you're being a Chris, you're obviously a cool, really, really nice person. And
I don't know, man. I think the Kyles are.
Who's afraid of 10-year-olds pulling strawberries? We got it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. If
moral of the
that
story,
10-year-old had a strawberry in his glove, I'd be like, no.
That'd be fun. I bet you after he knocked you down, he's like, eat it.
Right,
eat it, Chris.
Right.
Eat it.
But I do every once in a while when I walk by these young kids that are like boxing and they got their gloves on, stuff like that, I do have some flashbacks and be like, hey, stay away from me, little kid.
Man, yeah, I used to get in so many fights, man. And there's
a male Karen is often referred to as a Ken.
Yeah, so don't be a Ken, don't be a Karen, or just don't be a mean person, don't be a narcissist, don't expect people to believe everything you say. And
I think people forget the golden rule of treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so simple. I tell my kids it all the time. Don't do something if you wouldn't like it done to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very simple.
I love it when a kid came up to me to complain and they're like, I called him a name, but then he called me a name. I go, you deserve what you got called.
Right.
What do you mean? I'm like, don't be Karen.
Or Ken.
Karen.
Yeah, man.
Simple. You hit somebody's door, you take accountability. Don't call somebody an idiot if you don't want to be called an idiot back.
Yeah, that's just
simple.
Don't pick a fight with a 10-year-old. I mean, there's just so many life lessons that we
if you're the Greek, you don't pick a fight with anybody because you'll get your ass whooped no matter who it is.
No, Greek, just a few things. I mean, there's pressure points in the body, especially the lower ribs in the front. The biggest, meanest person ever. You hit them in the right spot, they can't breathe, and then it stops everything.
Do you know those cops, how they hold when they're arresting you, how they hold your hand to
Unfortunately, yeah, I do.
Well, my friend was trying to practice.
He's like, yeah, I know.
Unfortunately,
my friend knows that I'm loose jointed, so all my joints are loose. So he did it on me, and he's like, "You're not feeling it?" I'm like, "No, loose jointed. My joints."
What do you mean, like loose? You're talking about like your what do they call that?
I'm a looser, so like you push as hard as you want.
Crap,
I don't feel anything. Like
can you get in a box?
I mean, like a TV stand, like Joey.
I thought like playing the deer.
That doesn't hurt.
90 degrees. Like I'm so loose.
No. Well, that's cool. Are you loose or are you flexible?
Can you do a split?
Well, that's why I have the joint issues I have, because every joint is loose. So it comes with its drawbacks. So it's not as cool as people think.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I don't think that I would want to ever be one that people would say to me like, "Man, that Chris, he could do really good splits." That's not like,
hey man, you do like poles.
Yeah, he's like, I remember Chris. Man, you guys ever see him do the splits? Like, what the hell?
Man,
now
He was good at doing the split.
Full disclosure, I can still do the split. I'm very
Oh my
flexible.
God, I can never.
It was part of the training, man. You know.
Yeah,
you guys want to see
it's
me
impressive, dude. It's impressive.
That I cannot do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not even.
I was a big fan of Van Damme in the 90s, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
I was a different guy.
I was on the chairs, man. I could do it on the chairs.
I was football and gym and stuff like that. I wasn't the taekwondo. My son's that way. My son's taekwondo and all that.
The way you said it, my son's that way.
Yeah, he's like that.
Was your son a Ken or something?
No, my son will kick your butt, man.
Yeah,
but
sure
he's nice about it. He's like,
your son's
he's a nice asshole, huh?
He's like the dude that knocked Kryptonian out.
Yeah, he's the guy that knocked me out and said,
Right.
"Hey, man, I'll never forget that guy, man."
He'll knock you out and like hold you as you went to the ground.
Yeah,
right. So you don't hit your head.
Be like, "Hey, I got you a pillow and a blanket."
Yeah. Those are the
Knocks me
best.
out.
The guys that
Just
knock
some
you
water.
out and then they
Goes to the
lift you
door
up.
and says, "I just married you." I mean, what the guy's that nice? I mean,
My dude, he is. This is throughout his life. It's always been one of those things where I'm like, for crying out loud, give me a break. There's been like 2 different special needs people that went to school with him, and wherever it was, whatever, and their caregivers and stuff are always like, they like send. I've gotten 2 different letters, plus like almost every time I went to the school for any kind of conference. They're like, yeah, he didn't do his homework, but he is so generous and so helpful with, and even the special needs people that the caregivers and stuff. I got letters from them saying that he is wonderful, sweet, nice, everything like that. He is the nicest person. It makes me sick to my stomach sometimes because I'm like, dude, they're like, your son is so nice, and I'm like, yeah, he is nice, yeah, but he won't clean his room.
he gets that from his mother.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That is one of my soft spots.
That's funny.
People with special needs. Like if I see anybody miss it, that will set me off.
yeah, he's gotten into fights before.
No,
and
that was almost my first fight ever in high school. It was like somebody was messing with a kid for special needs, and I'm like, this ain't happening. in
Yeah,
front
he
of
got
me.
stopped. The bus got stopped. I had to go to the bus, man. They wouldn't let it go and everything like that. And I was like very proud of him and everything. But I was like, you can't do that.
You can't be saving everybody.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
do
you
that.
can't do it in front of
everybody. Yeah.
He's like
exactly.
Uncle Ben. With great power comes
Right.
responsibility.
But
Okay, Peter.
he's got good. He's got a good character to him and stuff like that, and it drives me absolutely insane. So
Is this the one I met?
yeah.
Yeah, he was a good kid.
Yeah, he's big boy, and he's very.
That's good. You should be proud.
Yeah, he's that type. That's what I was saying. Is he taekwondo stuff like that? Yeah. But he's good. But I think we should wrap it up, guys. I'm getting tired. I'm getting old.
That's probably a good idea because my wife's texting me because we got to leave at 4 a.m. So she's like, "What are you doing?
Oh, you guys with your wives.
What are you doing?"
That's funny. Hey, look, it's by choice. Okay, you can have a wife
choose
too.
to live my life this way. Okay.
I can honestly say, man, I wouldn't want mine any other way. My wife's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
she is. She gets on my nerves sometimes. I'm sure I get on her nerves quite often, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
I'm just gonna sit on my couch waiting for any girl that just texts me.
It'll happen there.
Greek's out for high quality girls, man.
Yeah.
Don't settle, bro.
Quality guy. He just
don't settle and don't.
Yeah,
look so
after
hard,
my
man.
last
It'll
failed
happen.
engagement, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm waiting.
Hey, whatever happened with the chick from the wedding? Did she? I know she said she reached out.
Yeah, she did talk back.
Right.
Did
Any more? I mean, I know you sparked the conversation. She hit you back.
It takes 2 to tango. It takes 2 to tango, and I'm not gonna just keep talking to air. Okay,
I got you.
She's gotta show some willingness.
Yeah.
If you're not willing, whatever. I don't need it. Like I don't.
I mean, were you trying to text? Were you trying to text her? Did you like, hey,
send her email or something, right, or something like that?
It was Facebook Messenger because that's the only way I
see. But I'll give her.
And I gave her my number, and I said, if you want to take this offline,
Yeah.
I put the ball in her court. That's how I play it. Okay.
Smart.
Because she could have very well if she had given me her number, I would have texted her right away. But
Right.
I gave her my number. You think the next move is to, oh, this is my number, by the way. Nope. So
yeah, this way, I
hard to tell these
prefer
days,
the conversation. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not texting anybody. If you want to know my number, I'll be like, oh, here.
I'm past the stage of games with
smart man.
girls.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
if you want, like, I'm looking, okay, like, if you want to go out, let's go out. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to play games for 3 weeks. Maybe now I feel comfortable enough to go out. Like, I'm such a weird dude, and I've learned this in my life. You will never get the person I am through my texts and how I converse text with you. You need to see me in person because
you don't want if I was texting
either,
people would be like, what the hell is he talking about?
People, I'm dry because I'm flat to the point when I text people. Okay, that's how I text. Okay, but when I'm face to face with somebody, I go, you really get to know somebody.
Yeah. When we met that one time, I was like, I think I know Greek a lot better now than I did all the times I was texting and all that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's that way with everything. But.
So this is all a show right now. This is
it's just fake.
You're doing it for subscribers.
This is not who I am.
For likes.
Subscribers, which is everything I do for subscribers. My whole existence is for subs.
And on that note, subscribe to Omni Elites. All of our social medias, all that good stuff. We got some really cool stuff coming down the pipe.
Leave a comment.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Do you do that, Greek? It's like, all right, well, dinner was great. I had fun. It was actually
ring
a great
that
time.
Notification
I didn't
bell.
realize I was going to have such a great time.
Subscribe and hit that notification bell.
I don't know why that gets
while I'm
paying
people. He's all like, no, this is funny. She's like, what are you doing, man?
I have learned in this world, if you don't tell people, give them an action.
You have to ask.
Yeah, you really have to be like, oh, please do this.
My favorite saying: you don't get laid unless you ask, man. You gotta ask for it. You gotta ask for it.
Chris,
you are obviously married,
and
I ask every night. Go to bed.
Who are you asking?
Every person that I ever date and we're ever with, we still are good friends. So it's like I think
that speaks to your character, dude.
Thing. It's like
to your character.
If I don't like you, I'm not gonna have
I love that. Great.
Any kind of relationship or anything like that. It's gonna be.
Oh, my ex-fiance got married last weekend. I didn't tell you guys that one.
Okay.
That's all.
I messaged her on Facebook.
Is that a good thing, or are you mad about it?
No, I'm not mad.
No, like, you cut it off.
You're not meant to be with me. If you saw problems with me and it wasn't meant to be, whatever. Go. I hope that one is the guy for you. Like
that's
if it wasn't
healthy,
meant to be, it's not meant to be. You
Hell
can't
it is. Yeah.
Like
I remember my ex invited me to her wedding. She showed up my one of my exes.
Was she your ex when she invited you, or was
we were actually dating. We were actually dating for a long time through high school, and then we broke off. And then she shows up at my door. I just got back from college. I think I had a couple weeks back, and she knocks on my door, and she's like, "I'm like, hey, what are you doing? What's up?" And I hadn't seen her, and she's like, she had an envelope, and she's like, "Hey, I want to invite you to my wedding." I'm like, what are you, stupid? What are you gonna...
Right. I'm not gonna. She just wanted a gift. You know what I mean?
A
gift.
We're registered.
That's how you found out you guys broke up.
Pretty much.
Invited you to her wedding.
Yeah.
By the way, we've been going out for a year, but I'm getting married to this.
Will you be my fiance's best man? I was like, wait, what?
Right.
Wait, what?
I do think that's good advice for even younger generation. Never burn a bridge.
Yeah,
I know so many people that are just like, man, screw that.
You never know when you're gonna have to.
You never know. You never
every
know,
place.
Man.
So
yeah,
when I left the casino working there,
great advice.
I quit there. But if I were to go back right now, let's say I lost my job and I was on the streets. If I were to go back right now, everybody would be like, "Oh my God, the Greeks coming back!" They would welcome me back and that's what you want in every situation. Somebody never burn that bridge because you never know when you're going to need it.
I agree with you guys on what you're thinking about, but I sure as hell there are times when you have to burn a bridge.
Well, sure, I'm not saying that, but you know that. But
if you're being neglected and whatever, I don't want anything to do with that, and I'll burn that bridge. Yeah.
I take it
for your own sanity. You gotta burn the bridge.
I blow it up.
There's times you have to blow it up.
Yeah. Like I would never go to Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Never going there. Yeah. Because I have no longer have purpose. But one last question, Greek. So when you worked at the casino, did you literally go by the Greek?
No.
Oh, because you just said, "Hey, it's the Greek." Like they know you have the Greek.
It's just my pseudonym, and I everybody's like, "Well, you're talking third person all the time."
Yeah.
But They
do,
always,
but it's cool
people.
though, man.
That's
But
where
it's
the
cool.
Greeks
It's
started though, because people.
Well, the Greek says
players would be like, because on my ID was my actual name and it's 10 letters long and people couldn't say it. So it'd be,
my
they'd
middle
be like,
name
oh,
is 8 letters.
They'd be like, what nationality are you? And I go, I'm Greek. They're like, well, I'm just gonna call you the Greek. So a lot of players would be like, oh, I want to be at the Greeks table. That was a thing at the casino.
I could see you being a pretty cool dealer. You know what I mean?
Everybody, I say, everybody needs a friend called the Greek.
When I was dealing, it sucked because my tables were always the busiest.
When you were dealing at the casino, come on now. You gotta, whoa,
that's almost as outrageous. You gotta tuck it in the butt, you know.
Well,
tuck the butt, not tuck it in the
butt.
Dude, you just ruined it.
I'm just saying words, man. I'm sorry.
Where's your mind? You don't.
I just hear so many shorts right there.
Yeah, all I remember, Chris, is like, you got to tuck the butt, Greek.
On that note, remember to always tuck the butt in.
Yeah.
No, you don't tuck the butt. There's no in of anything. You tuck the butt.
So you tuck the butt out.
It just goes back to the very beginning of the conversations. Where did the Greek come from? You know, the Greek. Anyways,
it's just that the older generations, like obviously I am here, that we didn't like giggle when our parents and grandparents said that stuff. We were like, oh, that's what it means. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you say it and it's like,
it makes
I don't sound like that, man.
No. I'm talking about my grandson and stuff.
I thought you were making fun of me. I was like,
no, not.
And he said, my friends, I don't sound like that. Every time the word "do" was said, and our teachers would get so annoyed. I'm like, such children.
Yeah.
Children. Yeah, we're fun. All right, I am done for sure.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, on that note, do not be a Karen, be a champion.
All right. That sounds good to me. Are you guys done?